had some food to these people. And what Jesus was trying to get them to see, they counteract with Jesus. They come back and they say, we don't have any more than 5 loaves and 2 fish. Well, who are you to tell Jesus what you got? And who do you think you are to tell Jesus what you ain't got? They said, we don't have it. Jesus had said, you take the responsibility. You feed them. And the fact, it almost leads from the text. It almost, food ain't the only way you can feed somebody. What I have found, and I can understand the apostles, because I've learned that when you make a ministry out of feeding folk, you end up feeding the same folk. You never wonder why the same folk is hungry all the time. If that's their job, if they're, well, right this time of year, when you go back to your churches, the telephone is going to ring, and people have the brazen audacity and the unmitigated gall to call the church and tell you what they want for Christmas. And it's the same folk. It's the same folk. I remember one year when I was across town in North Tennessee, we decided that we were going to feed folk at a Thanksgiving dinner, and we fed them, and we handed out the plates, and we went down on the corner, and the folk that we had fed was selling our plates for $5 a plate. When you decide you're going to reach out and you're going to do that kind of ministry, and I've heard members all the time say, well, I just believe we ought to be feeding folk. We ought to feed folk like Jesus fed folk. Well, you got to make sure. Now, to be quite frank, there are other groups of people in town and other organizations that are really more equipped. Okay, y'all can look at me if you want to, but they more equipped to feed massive people than we are. Well, they are. When the preacher ain't had a raise in 2 years, you got to think twice about buying a $15,000 vintage stove.
Stay there, preach. Stay there. Stay right there.
When your insurance says that as a church or a religious organization, that in order to feed people, that you are exposing yourself and the church to lawsuit after lawsuit, and so in order to do this, we're going to have to go up on your premiums X amount.
Right.
But instead of looking for a plate to give to somebody, maybe we ought to look at feeding folk in a different way. Because if I ain't got a job, or if the job that I have doesn't pay me that much, and I don't know how to manage or budget my money, maybe instead of filling a plate, you ought to have some classes on money management. I know they waiting on the big check. I know they waiting on the eagle to fly. I know they waiting on it to get that financial break. But until that break comes, you need to teach them how to earn and how to manage what they got. Does that not feed somebody? If you can teach me how to keep $5 in my pocket 5 minutes longer, is that not feeding me? If you can teach me how, though it's not the income that I would desire, but I can support my family, or I can do some things. I know one sister in Tyler that wanted to do a class to teach the young ladies how to cut up a chicken. Well, you laughing, but some of them don't know how to boil water. Amen. But listen, it's all a matter of economics, because anybody that goes shopping knows that if you know how to cut up the chicken, it costs more when it's already pre-cut in pieces. And they go to the store and spend their money in an unwise way when they can learn some things that we can teach them. Jesus says, you feed them. You teach them. You feed them. book says that there were about 5,000 men. I like what Jesus said. He told the disciples, make them sit down. Make them sit down. Make them sit down. They didn't know what he was fixing to do yet. They were still talking about stores and going to the store and buying stuff. Jesus said, we're going to skip the middleman. We're going straight to the store. He said, so in preparation of that, make them sit down. Make them sit down. Make them and you don't hear anybody here asking who they think they are, telling me to sit down. You don't hear anybody saying who died and made them the boss. You don't say anybody saying, well, can't nobody tell me to sit down but the elders. Because the fact remains, when you're hungry and you ain't got no money and you ain't got no food, you need to do whatever the ones in control tell you to do. Sit down! A whole lot of folks up now need to sit down, you know. A whole lot of people like to be up in front of the church. They need to sit down. There are a whole lot of folks who call themselves leaders. They need to sit down. Jesus said, even though you might be hungry, but you're hungry, he told, make them sit down. And if there were 5,000 men, and if it's estimated that there were at least 15,000 in all, that means that 300 groups of 50 had to sit down. But somewhere between verse 15 and verse 16, he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and he looked up to heaven. And between the time he looked up to heaven and the time he looked back down, there was enough bread and fish for everybody. And that's when he told them, now you all carry it. So here were these apostles with all this power, who had been going around preaching and healing, and were proud of that. Jesus took them to a deserted place and made them wait on tables. Because it really don't make any difference how powerful you feel.
All right, all right.
Or how proud you are about the things that you have done for Jesus. Jesus let them know, just like he lets us know, you're not too big to wait tables in a deserted place. It may take more time. It may take more out of you to feed them. Because really, money is the easiest thing given. Food is the easiest thing given. You can throw some food at somebody. We used to do it at Thanksgiving, aren't you? You're going to go back, you're going to have baskets. And members of the church are going to be fighting for them baskets. We ain't even talking about that in the world.
He's right. He's right.
You miss one senior citizen, they're going to call you and say, I didn't get a basket. You're going to have to run a basket on you.
Exactly.
You may have to stay longer. You may have to work harder. But Jesus said, instead of waiting on everybody else, you do it. You feed.
You feed them.
Didn't say nothing about Washington. He said, you feed. Didn't say anything about Austin.
You feed.
He said, you feed.
Good lesson. Good lesson.
And unlike you, in our churches, we're going to have to see some of our regular traditional ministries. When you have an economy like we're dealing with right now, there are a whole lot of hungry people and a whole lot of people without. And while we're waiting on the government to give the fix, while we're waiting on Jesus to do it, Jesus tells us,
you feed them.
You feed them.
Amen. 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 Amen.